Hi everyone. I'd like to share this short video with you to show you how I mounted a Badlands 3500 winch to my 2022 Honda Pioneer 500. What I did is I had some old tubing that I had saved from an old workbench or weight bench that I had, and I thought that the size of it would be ideal to make a winch mount. So what I ended up doing was taking this tubing and cutting it to length to match the width of the stock bumper, and the tubing brought the winch up to the height I needed so that the cable would be on the center of the bumper. So the tubing was key to bring it up to the height that I needed. So what I ended up doing was through bolting the tubing down through the bumper tubing on the front and on the back. And I was able to use the two back original bolts that hold the bumper, so I didn't have to drill any additional holes there. But I did have to drill 2 holes on each side in the front tubing. And then I through bolted up through the tubing into the winch to mount the winch to the bumper. And it came out great. It's sturdy. It won't go anywhere. So once I got that mounted, what I ended up doing was I decided that I would run the winch off its own battery instead of off the side-by-side battery. So I ran the cables from the winch up underneath the hood, up into the hood area, all nice wire tied, tucked in. I mounted the relay to the cross member, and I took another piece of that tubing and I bolted it to the frame on the side-by-side in order to mount the battery to it. And it worked out great. I could always remove this bracket and put a plate there if I want to put a bigger battery at some point down the line. But for what I'm using this for, maybe I'll get a plow at some point, or just for an emergency to pull me out if I get stuck. This battery should be plenty. And I was also able to hook up a battery tender to the battery, and I ran it down to the outside so I can plug in the battery tender. And I also made a bracket for the remote control, so you can actually plug the remote control outside and you can operate the winch without having to be inside the UTV to operate the winch. So that all worked out great. You know, it's nice and neat, and it took me like a day to do. I could have bought a bracket to do all of this, you know, and probably would have been easier, but it was something fun to do, and I enjoyed doing it, and it came out great. Also, what I did was to run the battery or the winch from inside the ATV, you have your in and out switch. And I was able to run the cable through where your reverse lever is. So I didn't have to drill any holes through the under panel here. I was able to feed the cable through, and it worked out great. And I just bolted the switch up so I can operate the winch from inside the cab here. And it just came out really well. And I just wanted to throw that out to you guys to show you that, you know, you don't have to have a professional install these things. You just use a little common sense, and if you've got the time and patience, you can do it yourself. So there it is, and hopefully there'll be some other videos to follow on other things that I do. But thank you, and take care.